Yeah, well, the heads are starting to sag, so shouldn't be that long now before we come to a harvest out here. It's Sunday afternoon. Didn't bother venturing outside yesterday because it's yeah. I think currently it feels like it's something like 44. It's overcast. We had plenty of sunshine earlier, so we're fully charged up both here and over at the house. So I'm going to have a bit of a go at this. Now, here we have a straight edge and a straight edge that are long enough. So I'll cut off a strip about that wide from either side and proceed to use that. Now, I'm not out of power tools yet. The jigsaw wasn't good for doing straight lines. Well, okay, fair enough. The reciprocating saw, I think it's a bit violent for doing straight lines on something like this. I could use the handsaw. I was thinking I was going to have to do that, but then I realised that I can create a fence with that. And over here in the tool cupboard, we have a reciprocating saw, a multi-tool. So I figure if I hold that against the fence, I should be able to constrain it to a straight line. So that one's still got teeth on it, that's good. I'll go and get a battery and some clamps and start clamping these things down. I will also take it outside to the underneath the gazebo because why create extra cleaning in here? I'll generate the sawdust outside. Well, I'm all set up outside ready to start, and you can see the only movement of the trees is when a bird leaps off a limb. Whoop, no, there's a bit of a breeze from through the bamboo. But yeah, very little air movement here. So for cooling, I've got this recovered fan from a split system that self-destructed. So yes, I am melting, but I'm going to continue now that I've got this far. Well, it's getting there. I've got a definite slot to work in now that's straight. I've taken a break or two from that because bending over that is not good for my back. So I happened to notice this garden bed out the front of the shed had been replanted with something that looks promising, but all of those red bits off the top of those sprinklers had disappeared. I think some of them are broken off and some of them were souvenired by small children, as happens around here. But this last one has got the pin that seals it off still stuck in there, so I really want to get that one out and replace that, and they don't come out easily, so that's something for me to look into. Well, that's one done. Found even with this tool it doesn't really want to cut straight lines given a chance. As long as I had the fence there and was doing a groove alongside that, was all good. But if you cut all the way through and then started to follow that line, it wanted to veer off, so I had to avoid that. But now I'll turn the board around and do it again. Well, that's both pieces cut reasonably straight. By the time I get this mess all cleaned up, that'll be enough for today because I'm saturated. This is going to take a little while to pack away. Well, that's cleaned up. I'll leave the fan there for now because I don't think that's likely to be pilfered because it's not got an Indo style plug on it. You don't have to steal an adapter or go to the expense of changing the plug over. I think it'll be okay. The next step will be to screw these three pieces together as a single unit, so then I can use those as a template, cut across through the tops of these as well, and with them still clamped together, I will do a couple of 6mm wide cuts to a standard depth in there, so that I can use another piece of this as a cross piece to join all three together. That comes later. Okay, it's Monday morning and I've just got myself set up here for the next phase of this. We'll see how far I get before I get too hot. I suspect I'll be having a few bites at this today because I'll have a session in the morning before I overheat and have to go and cool down, and then I'll try for another session this afternoon. Limited duration out here in this humidity. So here's the plan. I've screwed those three pieces together, making sure that the top here is aligned, and use the gap in that one as a template for making this one. So yeah, that's the right tool for it, it seems. I just might put a different blade on it, get a sharper one, because that one's a bit worn. But yeah, I'll do that for a while. Turns out I don't have another one of those semicircular blades, so I go with the straight ones. If all else fails and they turn out to be too wrong, because this one has a shorter radius, so it doesn't move as much, but the part of that that's been used the most is the middle, so if I rotate it so that I use the end parts for cutting, that'll be fine. But I'll see how I go with this. Well, I'm saturated and the multi-tool is getting hot to hold, so it's time to give that a rest, and me, and go back to the lounge room and cool down for a while. Probably end up coming back after lunch. I was wrong before saying I had 900 by 600 sheets of 6mm thick. What I have is 1200 by 900 sheets of 6mm thick, and this was a 900 by 600 sheet of 3mm thick, which makes the work a little bit easier in this case. But I will use that 6mm thick piece over there for the cross pieces that are going to go that way. I just got to split that down the middle now. Well, I've got my two boards out of that one now, and got my slots cut in the long boards, and those are not symmetrical for a purpose. It means I can't get confused about which way around the three boards go. If they don't get all put in the same way, one will have obviously misaligned slot. So now what I got to do next is take this away, separate these boards, put them on the aluminium strips to get the spacing right. The big one goes over the join between the short and the longer pieces in the two-piece section, and then either side of that will go the thin ones. And what I have to do is then, having got that space right, there's slots in these two boards of the right width for these to drop into, so we get the sort of overlap there. I don't know whether I'll bother gluing those together or not into one piece. Yeah, might as well. But yeah, I've reached melting point again, so I'm going to pack this all up and go back to the lounge room. I don't get much done at a time because it's just so damn hot out here. Like if I check my mobile phone over here, let some of the mobile dust off, unlock it, okay, 32.6 feels like 46.2. Yeah, okay. Warm enough to go back in the lounge room, I think. It's Tuesday morning. I came out to set up for the next step of this, and I can hear water dripping through the foliage next door. I thought, I didn't know they had any sort of watering system that would cause water fall through the foliage, and I came up the end here to have a look. Yeah, there was water dripping down through these trees, so I thought, that can't be right. So I then looked across this way a bit, and I saw a fountain coming across from the hose, and it turned out our water hose that runs across to the house had sprung a leak. So I got Asda to come over and turn off the valves up there, and we had a T-piece that we could use, cut out the bad section or where the leak was, and put in the T-piece and clamp it either end, and then a blind end for the unused leg of the T. So inserted that, clamped it all down, turned the water on, and it's still dripping, so no, we'll turn it off. She might have said she's good with just using the water from the taps over here for filling gallons, until we later on replace that with pipe. So we use proper PVC pipe running across there instead of the hose. But that can wait for another day when we saved up a bit more money. Meantime, I've got this far and become saturated with sweat, so I'm not in a hurry to continue at the moment. You just got to imagine these three pieces standing up, like so, and like so. So this will provide support for the short one at the back. This will provide support over the joint between them, and this will supply support near the front. And those other two pieces I got on the workbench will just go across those slots with slots of their own, so they interlock in, so it can't go either way. And then I'll probably glue it. But for now, I'm going to run away and cool down. You can see my trail of sweat droplets. Oh, I'm back after lunch to continue, but I don't think I'll be here for long, because I just checked the weather station. It says feels like 46.5. It was 47.2 a moment earlier. So yeah, I'll do this until I get sweaty. Then I got to go and find some batteries, because I've just reminded myself that the weather station doesn't seem to be reporting much for long during dark hours. So I think it's good when it's powered by the solar panel on top, but the battery might be going flat. Well, that's for 5 pieces. I'm using that as a nice flat surface to fix them together on, so I'll just glue the 6 joints now. Well, I've generously applied some glue, so I'll probably have to prise it off the bench tomorrow. But yeah, I'll leave that alone till tomorrow. Well, there's the jig all loaded up, but there's 2 things I've got to do. Firstly, I've got to file out a little bit in 4 of these. There's 3 in the middle there where, like this one, rocks, so I figure I need to file a little bit out of that one. This one doesn't sit flat, so I need to do a little bit there. And this one here rocks a tiny little bit, so I'll take a little bit out of the middle there. And yeah, and this one here doesn't sit flat, so I'll do a little bit on that side there. And then I just have to arrange it so I can get a straight line across the front with these joints all falling within that middle board. So I'll get on with that. I won't be at this very long because I'm already getting hot and sweaty. Well, that's got all those imbalances out. So now I just have to get the front edge aligned appropriately, preferably square to the, like I want that line there not to go off at a slant like that. I want it to be square to the actual pieces, and I have a square big enough to make a bit of an impression on that. Once I've got them in position, I'll try and hold them in there while I run some masking tape, painter's tape, run a strip along underneath that and a strip along underneath that, so that they're all held in there while I carry this across to the house. Getting closer. Well, I got 2 strips of tape across there, which may hold it in place while I carry this across to the... I don't recall if I'd showed the end result of my party line installation previously, but yeah, that came up fairly well. Well, that's all laid out in the kitchen table, and I've applied my silicone sealant to the tops of the strips now. So now you can watch me real time. That now, I wish I had 3 arms. So I need to go back, but not back too far, in a little bit. Make sure the front's sort of lined up to the front. Back a little bit. So about there. Nope. All comes adrift. That's a bit sad. Well, I get to try and sort out the mess now. What fun. Yeah, well, I'll spare you this because this will take a while. Okay, I'll have a second go. If I can't get it this time, I'll have to wait for the divider to come back. Give it a hand. Okay, so much the same as last time. Here we go. Holding the bracket in place. Press these up and stick on the side of the cupboard. some of them will stick up there okay. And the fact that the silicon seal is not really squashed down on top of these, I think I've got to load these up more so that they actually contact. So I need to get this stuck up onto there. So I've got these ones all aligned okay. So I'm going to need your hand with this. Try and get these lined up left to right on here. So they fit over the same. So hold it up. Hands on it. Hands on it.
And that there.
Yep. So hold it up so that these fit in. Okay. That's it. That's it. Okay. So we're going to go back a bit.
You do put this in it.
The rest of them. Carefully, you can see how many come away with it. So down slowly, down, down, down,
No,
down, down.
Yeah.
Right, it's not quite slowly.
No, because I don't know.
Okay, so got that away, righto. So we just have to make sure these are stuck on.
Put that one in.
Yeah, we've got to get the spacing right there, so that's the crucial bit.
Yeah, because I already can air moving.
Yeah. No. Okay, if I get this thing on the way, that would make it a little bit easier. First, right spacing. It's got the right spacing. Well, the battery ran out partway through recording that, so I don't know yet how much is on there, but they're up. The spacing's about correct. So we'll give it 12 hours or so to firm up the silicon seal and then see how many have got to be ripped down and redone. Well, I got impatient. I didn't wait 12 hours, I only waited about 9 and loaded it up. There's only one problematic one, and that's this row where if I push that in so that it's level with the rest of them, the back one will drop out. It's not because it drops off the rails, it's because the rails part just enough for them to fall through. These two are a little bit tight at the end here, but that's still usable. Yeah, so it'll do. We'll see if they fall down overnight. I don't think they will at this stage. I think they're pretty well fixed firmly. So, okay, job's done. I managed to get that one that was sticking out here and slot it into the back and have it not fall down. So it's all good now. Yeah, it's Friday morning, so I'll just wrap this up and do an upload.